but I don't map out the 12. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold here. I don't map out the waves on the 12 for my lower time frame for the
Yeah,
one.
go back up to the top. Okay, so inputs. That's all there is to that one.
That's it.
That's his latest, the latest one.
I believe so.
And back down to the bottom. Okay. And then
That one?
there's nothing on style that you have to change.
No, I don't touch
Okay.
style.
And then you've got protected highs and lows from TFO also.
Yeah.
What does that
And
add to
that
it?
one I use. So for the structure and the trend candles, I don't highlight those because I don't like that. Protected highs and lows, I just show the what's it called, the triangles.
Right.
I use valid pullback criteria, and then I also use specific pullback criteria because that matches what Pack teaches.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And then I believe, yeah, that's it. I don't touch style. I don't touch visibility.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good clean look. I like that. So
Um,
the little green
yeah, so
diamonds, the little green diamonds are the and the red diamonds are the protected or the valid highs and lows on the 12 minute.
the one we're looking at right now, so like this blue diamond and this red, or sorry, not diamond, the triangle, or
Well,
are you talking about the
the
diamonds?
diamond, yeah, that is that,
Yes, the diamonds are the valid highs and lows on the 12.
and the
Correct.
blue and the red are the.
Protected lows and highs on the one.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, okay, Todd, you're good then? Yeah, so it's just right. We broke structure here, came up, we put in a valid high here. Valid high gets validated by this green candle here. So that puts in our valid high. So now because of this gap down, this would be the candle we would need to break lower to um, essentially make a new valid low. We do not. We come up and we take that high here with this green candle. That puts in our valid low. We then break structure, so this becomes our protected low. We come up here, so this would be the candle that we need to validate in order to put in a valid high. We never get lower than that, as shown here. And we come all the way to this candle here, at which time we break that protected low, which flips. Technically, it would be called a flip to the bear side, but we know that this entire zone here was unmitigated. And if you look at your higher time frame, never it's just like a little pullback on the 12, probably not even a valid pullback. And that's basically it. It just helps me map out where we are in structure. Makes it a little bit more clearer for me.
Yeah, and all help is good help because it's less time you got to spend trying to process some of the minuscule details. You can be concentrating
Exactly.
on other things and.
I find that when I didn't have these indicators on and I was like trying to drill down and learn these concepts myself without the indicators, like I felt like my mental capital was
Yep.
spent by noon
Yep.
because I was so focused on, okay, is this my valid high? Is this my valid low? Did we get a close here? Is this a gap up candle? Is this a continuation candle? So by like lunchtime, I was done.
Right.
This just lets me kind of hold a little bit of my mental capital for longer. So guys, right now I'm not looking at anything to trade. I have no desire to trade in this 915. As you can see, we're just in this range right here. On the 1 minute, we flipped bearish, but as you can see on the 12, we're just still stuck in this range, right? This low, this low here, essentially to this green candle, the high here. So we're just chilling up here, bouncing from midline to midline. On the 12, we did put in our valid low. So the expectation would be to take this valid high, um, and you could possibly look for a long, drop down to the 1 and look for a long. Um, so right here, we took out we put in the valid low on the 1. On the 1 minute, you got your 1 minute model, which would have been that. Hasn't tagged it or anything. Came up, made an intermediate swing here. And now we're just chopping in here.
How did you draw that out at the bottom, what you're calling the 1 minute model?
Sorry, the 1 minute Model 1. So that's just a, what is that, a fib? It's a fib. So I use the fib and I just chalk the 50% like that. And I primarily use that as my Model 1 for the 1 minute. And I just have like a bearish one and a bullish one.
So what are you anchoring to there at the bottom? Yeah, I see the low. You're just kind of using it's a high low high.
Yeah, so this was the candle. This would be the candle. This 840 candle would be the candle we needed to close above
Right,
in order to put in a valid low on the 1.
right.
So if price were to like come up and tap back into the 50, I would have took that long because on the 12 we never broke structure, right? We put in this nice big wick.
Gotcha. I guess I'm used to trying to just use like valid points on the one to draw my zones out, but that looks like the
Okay,
better
yeah.
way. That looks like a better way to get into a trade. And is that just because it's at the flip of the 12 minute? So anytime you get a valid high or low on the 12, you can then look for that particular model right there.
Yeah, kind of. I primarily just use the 12 to keep my head on straight in terms of where we are in market structure. And another one that I find has been working like super well on the 12 is just essentially a Model 1 um, for pack. So like say we are in bearish structure and we get this guy here, we get this push down, and then like we get that push back up to the 50, and just looking at the 12, you could take that at the 50 and use that as your entry. I've been Model 1 on the 12 minute for a scalp is crazy. I find that it hits. Even when you're wrong, it hits. It gives you like minimum 5 to 10 points.
Really? Okay. Todd, I'm recording this, so all the settings and stuff that he showed are going to be on the video.
Yeah, you're totally right, Justin. So that even though that set up on the 1, I didn't have that on the 12, but you could essentially look at that like, okay, we're in a range. I'm expecting this protected low to hold and take it based on that. So you're right. It wasn't validated. It wasn't like confirmed, but you could take it based on kind of what you're seeing, right? We come down, bounce, come up, come down, bounce, come up, come down, bounce. So we're in a range until we're not. kind of deal, right? We're longing the low of the range and we're shorting the top of the range until our range breaks.
And in this price action right here, you could have went pretty far with just taking that back and forth
100%.
until
If you were trading London last night, you made out like a bandit.
yep, I slapped, dang it.
Why not use the up candle for Model 1? Uh, the up candle. Oh, on the 12 minute, did I highlight the green? Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, you're right. I got ahead of myself. It is the up candle, not the. Oh, unless that's a gap, right? If that's a gap, I was just kind of using it hypothetically to explain it. The open was 109.50 and the close was 109.50. So no, you're 100% correct. It is the green candle, queen. And you'd be anchoring here, and your candle was validated on this one here. So right there, that tap there would have been your entry short. If you're expecting, if we were in bear structure on the 12, and you'd be looking for a downside move.
Do you use the 144 at all?
Only when I can't get a grasp. I very rarely will I pop out to the 144
Okay.
because like primarily I'm only looking for 10 to 15 points, 20 points if I'm lucky on the day. So like even though the 144 gives me a good directional analysis on what we're doing on a higher time frame on like the macro, I'm not like I'm looking for a fraction of one of these candles.
Right. Okay.
So
Good to know.
I primarily stick with the 12 and the 1.
Okay.
Okay, took a sell. You're hilarious. A little bit more. How you are using entry model 1 on the 1 minute. It kind of looks like you have some kind of personal twist on this model. Um, yeah, sure, Justin. How about we just wait for market open and then I'll show you a model 1 as soon as it comes up. And you guys can tell me what you think.
Sounds good. There's a lot of us kind of gravitating to the 1 minute. I think as beginners, that's where it's kind of want to get comfortable with that, and then if you want to try to increase the ability to get setups, then you drop down into lower time frames. But for myself, I'm just pretty much anchored to the 1 minute right now, trying to get comfortable with it, get my
Yeah.
eyes tuned to finding this stuff.
If I find that if you can master the M1, there's no stopping you. If you could predict the swings of every swing and it should do this, it should do that, it shouldn't do this, it shouldn't do that, then you're in really good shape because you could sit down at any time of the day and take a trade within, within a couple hours.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
6 minutes to open, guys. Hope everyone's locking in. Do we have any news today? Let's see. So we just had that 8:30 news. That's it. Natural gas storage at 10:30. Yellow folder. Other than that, I don't see anything else. I hear you, Justin. I'm experiencing the same thing as well right now. I see a trade setup and I'm ready to execute, but then I'm like, oh, what if what if this is just retracing to, I don't know, say there's something up here, like an unmitigated SNDO. What if it's just coming up here to come down, right? And like you're expecting it to take the high. You could always find um, like something to counter your trade idea. That's where backtesting and just practice and experience comes into play.
Keine Ahnung, ich lade dich das ein in unserer gemeinschaftliche.
2 minutes, guys. I'm just gonna go take a quick bathroom break.
Jubiläum, wie sagt man das dann? Feiern?
Weiß ich nicht.
Was war jetzt genau?
Justin, I know the feeling. I've got Nathan's model, Pack's model, ProJ's model. Uh, yeah, it's just a lot of information. Best thing to do is just get in there
Hast du eine
and
Jacke?
trade it. Oh, gotta mute somebody. Who was that?
Olo, warte. Papa muss jetzt kurz konzentrieren.
Sorry, Black Star. But yeah, struggling with the list of stuff that I have to look through um, is daunting.
Hey guys, so just to kind of reiterate what I'm looking at right now, on the 12 we came down, we wicked this protected low, put in a valid low. I'm expecting us to take this high now. Should we take this high, it'll put in a new zone, and then we have a higher time frame zone to base risk off of and look for retracement back into to continue our bullish trend up. 9:30, we're open. I'm expecting a little bit of a push down here, stop out shorts, and then followed by some nice upside. Something like this.
That would work for me.
if anyone's wondering what this black line is here, so that would be the candidate candle on the 12 minute to put in a valid high.
Oh, okay, cool. Is that part of the TFO indicator?
No, that's pros.
Is it? Okay.
That is right here. Mark candle for validation.
Okay.
That guy right there.
I hadn't used that before, so that's handy to know. But if it closes below it on the 1, couldn't that just be a wick on the 12?
Exactly.
Okay.
Hmm.
Don't
Do
push
I
up
want a
yet.
third coffee before 10 a.m.?
Ah, come on. Gangster!
Problem is, if I drink too many fucking coffees, I'm taking too many bathroom breaks.
Right. I hear you. I forgot I can. Oh man, doggone it! I forgot I can get in on this Firebird trade at any point. I should have longed it right there when it came down here. I would have already been out. Shit. I'm used to waiting for the timer, which is this blue line, but the latest version you can just mark it in and gives you the trade in the hedge.
You have your Firebird model laid out in one of the strategies, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I'll have to go check that out later.
that would have already been a winner. Shit. And I know that. It's just I'm not used to doing it that way yet. Now I'm going to be longing kind of at the higher end of the range. But there's room.
That's all right.
There's
You're
room.
gonna get another chance.
Yeah. Well, this trade I only take once a day at 9:34.
Oh, okay. Firebird is strictly time
Well,
based.
we have a heat map that shows us the highest probability times throughout the day, and we
Mm-hmm.
set our trades based on that information. So this is good. This is good. Come on down. Come way down deep. Beautiful. I'll probably lose that though in the next 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna leave it on automatic. If I touch it and then it does something stupid, I'll feel bad. I feel like I screwed it up. Right now it's just fate, you know. If I leave it on automatic. 3, 2, 1, bingo.
Order submitted.
We're in.
Get it.
Heading in the right direction.
So just kind of to reiterate, guys, where we're at right now on the 1 minute chart, this is a protected high. So we are bearish on the 1 minute protected high, but on the 12, very clearly in this range, and we just bounced off the bottom of the range. So we're at minimum expecting it to come to the top of the range, which we did. So if it wants to keep bouncing in between
Order
here
submitted.
until it breaks,
I lost this one. God damn it.
it can completely do that. Or we could just head up and continue with bullish structure. But right now, we're if you're
Order
a lower
canceled.
time frame scalper like I am, you're just looking to take a trade at the top of the range to the bottom of the range, bottom of the range to the top of the range, right? If it wants to keep heading lower, we would need to take this low with a body closure. Click on the show candle for validation button. The line you see is for the second time frame, when you click on the show candle for validation button, the line you see is for the second time frame. No. So when you click on the settings, it's for, so this validation candle is for that actual time frame. So this would be my 1 minute, right? And I have it as purple. So that would be this guy right here. You see that purple line right there? So there's the validation candle to put in a valid high on the 1 minute. And then the black candle, or the black line, I have it as the validation candle for the 12 minute. No worries, Todd.
So the Firebird trade failed. I was within a very short amount of hitting it. I'm trying to get away from just taking the money. I think I'd rather just take the loss and accept it rather than getting there and monkeying with it, because I keep doing that and then I cost myself when it ends up going in my direction. So
yeah,
it is what it is. And I will try to start taking it manually, I think, because I saw where the entry was and all I had to do was hit buy market, and I'd been out in seconds. Instead, I waited for the timer and it wasn't in as good of a position. I could have been down here rather than taking it up here somewhere. So live and learn.
Yep. One thing that I also gotta work on is when, before I entered the trade, like say I wanted a long right here, right? And I wanted to set my stop down here. I gotta say to myself, okay, accept this trade, accept that you're risking 15 points on whatever size you are. Accept the risk if you want to take this trade, and either let it hit your stop or hit your TP, and then just kind of set it and forget it kind of deal. Obviously, if you're going for a higher point of interest or something, you want to manage it along the way and like trail your zones, but that initial pressing of the button for me is accept whatever risk your trade is set up for right now, and be okay with that. If you have to adjust your size, adjust your size. But right now, guys, this would be I would be looking for like a 15-second setup on with a Model 3 kind of deal. Kind of like this, a little pop up, a little dap in and back up. Break out of this micro range on the 15-second.
So the Model 1 is the 1 minute. The Model 2 was the lower time frame, just sort of a flip, candle structure flip. And then the Model 3 is this rangy thing.
Yeah, Model 3 would be the essentially the double bottom, the failed low.
Okay.
So you double bottom on a 15-second, you come up, take yourself out of the range, and then it pops back into the range and gives you your entry, at which time you would enter.
Got it.
So in order for this to be a Model 3, guys, I'd need this current candle to close
Order
above this
filled.
range. I would need it to close above this range. Do you use SMT at all, Stu? ES has
Order
taken that
submitted.
data high, but NQ hasn't.
Order
Would
submitted.
that concern you at all when taking those quick 15-second scalps? You know what? I used to be heavy into ICT, Adi, and honestly, I understand the concept of SMT, but I just find it's too inconsistent. And what are we all looking for as traders? We're looking for consistency. Am I saying SMT is invalid? Not at all. Not at all. It definitely has
Order filled.
its
Order
advantages,
submitted.
and when it hits, it's deadly accurate. But I
Order
found that
submitted.
for on the lower time frames, it provided there was too many opportunities to see an SMT. You'd have to use it with confluence with a higher time frame, and and then you're also looking at dollar, which I don't agree looking at with for comparison, and it just got too much. I only look at NQ. That's all I care about. I don't care about what Dow is doing. I don't care about what SPY is doing. I'm just trading NQ. So, right, we didn't get that break above. We didn't get that break above with a body closure. So until that does that, you could expect more of this. Which, if you're on the 15-second right now, you could be scalping the piss out of this. Right? Until it breaks.
Order filled.
That's kind of where my head would be at if I was looking at a
Order
15-second
submitted.
chart and not looking
Order
at
submitted.
1-minute structure and 12-minute structure and everything else. And I was just looking to take scalps based on the 15-second. But I primarily use the 12-minute. So the 12-minute bias is bullish. So I will only be looking for a short on the 1-minute if the 1-minute sets up. And even if I do get the opportunity short, I'd only be looking for a scalp. Very low hanging fruit, high probability targets. Agreed, Queen. Agreed. Dio has been helping me a lot in terms of looking at market structure and price expectations. AP trades, I really like his dynamic in the way he looks at the market. It feels like it's really different from it's almost like a mix of GTFX and ICT, which I love. Trend, you mean like a short from the top of the range? Not necessarily, Todd. So when we say we're in a range and stuff, so that would just kind of give me my indication of where price is heading. For me to enter, I'd need an entry model, and that would either be the PAX Model 1, Model 2, Model 3 kind of deal, and then the target would be based on whatever time frame that entry model is based off of. So if I'm taking a Model 2 or 3, my low hanging fruit, my high probability target would be the 15-second target. If I'm taking a Model 1, it's going to be the 1-minute target. Once I get a clean setup, I'll be able to show you guys what I'm kind of talking about. Beautiful push. So look at this, guys. This is a nice little 1 minute setup. This could potentially be a double top. So if we were to break out of this, I'd be looking for it to trade down into like the origin kind of
Order
deal.
cancelled.
Puts in our valid high. If we look at the 12 minute, we got 1 minute until we close on this candidate candle right here. So that would be like a 1 minute setup on the
Order filled.
12. Like that. So if you were bearish bias, you'd be like this, targeting that low. Let's see if it takes out this protected low right here. Look at that. Again, off the protected low. Amazing, right? We're in a range until we're not. We're in bullish structure until we're not.
Order filled.
I love this shit.
Order filled.
So that Model 1 bearish, that 12-minute Model 1 bearish setup is no longer valid. Why? Because we didn't close below the candidate candle. 3, 2, it's not going to take it. Yeah. So that's out. So I use the valid low, Justin, as my protected low. Sometimes that's the lowest. That would be the lowest red candle. Sometimes it's a green candle, depending on if it's there's a gap.
So as we're pulling down, do you have any of these zones marked from the left below us that you're looking at that you're interested in, or are you just currently in the straight up the current price action?
I don't have them marked out, but you're right, I probably should. Like this is unmitigated.
Yeah, we're starting to come down into some stuff that's potentially interesting.
That's unmitigated. I believe this is unmitigated. Looks like it. Yeah. This looks like it. Didn't quite touch it there. Very close though. So right here is a nice Model 1 setup, guys. So like this was our candidate candle, this red candle here. Oh, we got a gap there though, right? One. The open was 68.25 and the close of this candle was 68.75. So there's a tick gap there. So technically, I think our candidate candle's up here to put in the valid low. Because we would look like that, and then we'd come up and down. Yeah. But the indicator is indicating that we do have a valid low.
It looks like it gapped down.
It did.
Oh yeah,
We have a,
that would make that the valid low then.
that's pretty good risk though. So it looked like this, guys, if we didn't consider this a continuation candle and all this one candle. So say that this gap wasn't here. You would take your entry right there, like that, a couple ticks below, and you would look for the 1-to-1 or a better target. I'm not going to take that just because of the gap there. So that's fucking with me a little bit because I'm looking at this like it's a continuation candle.
Oh, gotcha.
So I would want this high to be broken with a body closure. If I'm wrong on that, guys, speak up, please.
And did that come down into a zone? Are you taking those trades in zones, or are you just looking for the 1 minute flip basically? If you're bullish on the 12,
Yeah.
it looks like you could be in some kind of a zone there too.
Yeah, this is technically this is a bearish zone on the 1 right now, right? This would be a bearish zone. Right here.
Okay.
But my higher time frame is bullish until we close this blue line here, which we're going to in about 5 minutes. No, I think that's right, Justin, because I would use this as the top of my zone because we had those gaps, and this this would be your valid high because it's a continuation candle from these green candles. And then we broke structure here, right? And so this would be the low. This candle here would be the low that we would need to break in order to make a new zone. the swing points, the valid highs and lows, you could have a million valid highs and lows within a zone. But this move here would be our 1 minute zone. So it's the new zone, not the current one. It's the new zone, not the current one. Just helps. We haven't made a new zone yet though, because we need to break this low. On the 1. If you're referring to the 12, yeah, we're still in this zone. Until we break here. Once we close this candle in 3 minutes, as long as it's below this protected low, our protected high is going to be here. Sorry, it might be here.
How do you get that as the protected? Looks like it wicked above the previous high, but didn't close. Does it not need to close?
Well, if we close this though, once we close this in 2 minutes, which it's most likely going to, then your protected high would be at the highest valid high, I believe. No?
Is that wick the highest valid high though?
Let's see. Gap, continuation. I don't know. For some reason, I keep wanting to gravitate back to this valid high, but
That's what I had, yeah. Is the indicator showing that as a valid high?
yeah, that's on the 12. It's saying that this is a valid high.
Okay.
This, yeah, if it wasn't for the indicator, this would be the valid high I'd be using.
So let's see.
Okay, so we're gonna flip now, guys, in 1 minute. So now this is our higher time frame zone. It'd be from here to here. 50% would be there. I'd be looking at the SNDR as this guy right here. And we could drop down to the 1.
Order filled.
1 minute.
Order filled.
So I took this
That
trade
nice
right
push
here.
down.
Well, I had a 50% of a 1 minute zone just there that it tapped and went back up on some.
Oh, excellent. You took the long off that?
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Beautiful.
Not
Beautiful.
much, and I got out just in time. I don't know if it's going to keep going up or down, but there was the trade right there.
So 12-minute, guys, we flipped bearish. 1 minute, we flipped bearish back here. So now I'm expecting this. And I'll look for my models in these high probability areas. Right? So here's my zone that I'm working off of on the 1. My SNDR would be, get rid of this fib here. I would probably call this my SNDR, this valid swing here. It's a little bit more clear to me on the 1 minute. If I drill down to the 15-second, it's probably one of these lower swings in here. So there's my SNDR on the 1, is what I'd like to call it as. You got your 50% here. So best case scenario for me is I would love to see a sweep. We sweep here. So we have our zone, we have our sweep, and then we get CSS.
CSS stands for what?
Candlestick structure.
Okay. I guess I was expecting it to be candlestick flip or something in candlestick structure. But the candlestick structure represents a flip, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So it's a candlestick structure flip, CSS flip. Got it.
Yeah. A CSS, if you drill down far enough, it'll be a flip on a lower time frame.
Right.
So do we have our 1 minute setup on or 12-minute setup for model 1 now? So that would be our valid high. So yeah, that's a clean setup, right? With limited risk. So this would be your 12-minute model 1 bearish flip. You wouldn't want the 12-minute candle to close above this candidate candle, but it could definitely come up here, wick it, and then continue down.
And for those that are following the Omaha zones, this one delivered perfectly right here. So, and this is why it's an Omaha zone, is the huge displacement out of the 1 minute zone right here. Makes this a really high probability zone for me to attack just the 50%. And it came down, did 50%, and then shot right out. So 1-0 for Omaha. And unfortunately, I was on minis, and I didn't want to cover that much of the zone, so I just tried to take 5 points or so, and it kept ripping and ripping and ripping.
Excellent scalp opportunity here for those that like to live vicariously, looking for the 1-to-1 from the SNDR. Not my cup of tea because I don't have good luck with that. For me, it would just blast right through my zone. I always have a lot of difficulty taking trades based just on a zone. It taps at 50% and then you enter. I can't do that. I get stopped out constantly doing that.
Yeah, that's why I try to narrow it down to just specific zones that meet some certain criteria that I've identified
Exactly.
as high probability. It usually will bounce out of these zones. All the little chop stuff and everything, just every 1 minute zone. Yeah, I can't get caught up in that. I'll wait hours for it to come down into one of my zones that I've marked out. So we are now bearish on the 12, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you would be trading with direction. Why is that not your cup of tea right there? Why what's
Just because it's an SNDR, just because it tagged 50% doesn't mean that it has to give me the 1-to-1. It could very well just blow right through this because it wants to sweep liquidity, right?
right.
I like to go in the order of zone, sweep of liquidity, CSS, or entry model.
Got it.
That's kind of.
Which is probably
But as you guys see,
yeah,
it just delivered.
that's the best steps. And yeah, this is hindsight too, but like you said, there's
Yeah.
plenty of times when it probably just rips right through it. Yeah, Kat, I'm recording it.
Beautiful delivery on anyone that took that SNDR. Good for you. Congrats. Nice trade.
So you're calling that an SNDR, and it is the SNDR part of that bigger zone, but isn't it also a 1 minute zone in itself? Right there, because you've got a valid low,
You could,
you've got a
yeah, you
valid
could call it a
high.
valid swing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So that technically is
It's
a one
definitely
minute
a
zone.
valid swing on the one.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I'm seeing then as a. I wouldn't have taken it either just because it doesn't give the. Well, I don't know. That's good displacement onto there, but I didn't see it until you had marked it and called it an SNDR, and I was wanting to make sure. So a lot of this is terminology and um, trying to recognize structural swings versus just, I guess non-structural.
Right. I consider structural swings your protected highs and lows, and then valid swings are real swings, are swings that you would take trades based off of, is the way I look at it.
Gotcha. Yeah, Todd, that's kind of how I feel about it too. I have time to set it, and I know what I'm just not rushed. And I identified the zone hours ago, so it's just a matter of, deciding how much I want to risk, putting the orders in, and then not touching it. Unfortunately, this time I was caught unaware, and I couldn't cover the whole zone, so I kind of screwed myself by getting in with minis instead of micros. I wouldn't be surprised if it delivers again out of that 1 minute zone.
Yeah, it usually does.
It's a really solid one as far as the price action.
I see it all the time though. It'll give you multiple trades out of the SNDR. It'll give you multiple scalps, but then it'll just blow right through it and then
Right.
sweep liquidity in your zone.
And you never know how many times, if more than
Yeah,
one, you
exactly.
don't know. I mean, two is probably decent odds, but if you get beyond that, I've seen it go 5 times, and I'm like, well, I wish I could have caught that 5 times. Well, you'd been an
Yeah.
idiot. You'd been an idiot to try. Unless you run the first four, I guess, then you're already up. You might as well just take it until it fails. Yeah, I made money, Todd. I got. That was about half my daily goal right there, so I'm fine. But had I held it, I would have been done trading for the week. That's what's frustrating. Could have had Friday off.
Nice. Delivers a second time right there.
Yeah.
Can we get a third? Can we get a third?
If it comes up again,
This is the
I might get on it.
this is 10 points, guys.
Yeah. Because we still are expecting downward movement. But it's also, this could be a fake flip because it's dropped down into an unmitigated zone. I remember that from Pack's videos. Sometimes you'll get the markets change, but if it drops down and it mitigates an unmitigated zone, it's possible it comes all the way back up too.
I agree with you, and I totally understand what you're saying, but I find you only get fake flips like that if you got maybe 1 to 2 unmitigated zones below you. If you have multiple,
Oh, gotcha.
I find that it's not fake.
Most likely headed that way. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But we'll see. I could be completely wrong.
The way this market has been just, pushing and pushing and pushing, it keeps going up when it makes no sense to keep going up. So. Yeah, there is a ton of stuff below us.
So if you guys are anyone that's looking at the 15-second or 15-second structure or lower, you probably see a failed low here with a double top, right? So you'd be expecting that high to get ran.
All right, so
Order
I did just
canceled.
take that short back down, and that worked out well right here for quick 5 points. And again, in and out, a couple seconds. I might be done now. Yep, it's a wrap. I got my daily goal, so I'm going to paper trading.
Good man.
Not
Nice
getting
job.
this back today.
So there's your double top that just got ran. Stu, on this case, on that 1 minute, would you be looking to take 50% of the zone, or do you want to see a sweep? As long as we're in the zone, I could take a sweep anywhere. If it's at 50%, awesome. It doesn't necessarily have to be at 50%. 50% is nice, but I don't need it to tag 50% for me to enter short. But I do need to see a sweep.
Doesn't that count as a sweep right there?
Yeah, you could count that as a sweep. Yeah. These valid highs swept. So if you were to look at that and use that, if you like that, count that as a sweep. Now you'd be drilling down and looking for a CSS for the short.
Gotcha.
Bathroom break.
Gotcha. I took another little piece of that right there.
Order filled.
So that's my day so far. We're good. That's really all I need to do right there. But I get in the habit of saying, well, since I made that much, I could, now I'm using the bank's money. And I might do that at the end of the day. Try to see if I can maybe see something that's really obvious, but low risk from here on out. What, Pep? Peter? I mean, the rejection off this area right here is just insane. It just keeps delivering right here.
It's going to be one of those times. The S&DR is not going to deliver a fifth time, will it?
Yeah, I know, right?
The S&DR is not going to deliver a sixth time, will it?
I've caught 3 little pieces of this, and they've done really well. And it's neat that, I never would have looked for trades here pre-pack, right? I mean, there's no fair value gap here. You got the little break of structure, but there would have been nothing up here for me to see to the left to interest me, at least not on the 1 minute. Maybe on the 5 there was something better, but
Agreed. Totally agreed.
yeah, there's nothing on the 5 either. The fair value gap is way above that, right? So I would not be getting in on anything right now. But seeing these zones is just adds such another dimension to your trading opportunities, because now you see places where it will most likely you're going to get a reaction, whether or not it delivers your full whatever, depending on how you manage it. But it's just really money.
There's another time. So that's 1, that's 2 there.
I should have stayed in on that one too. Doggone it.
I took it here.
You got your 1-to-1, Peter. Good job. All right, do we got anybody new in here? A. Lethy might be new. Not sure I recognize that name. Afonsoff, maybe new. DAZATM, possibly new. Federo, maybe new. Welcome. Hey, what's up, Feet? Good to see you. Maestro LOL, maybe new. Pero, possibly new. PG, possibly new. Save 11 TW, possibly new. Sean might be new. Welcome. All you that are, yeah, first time. Good. Glad you made it. We've got Stu in here streaming for the first time, and appreciate that. I told him I encourage everybody, anybody that can get on here and help, please do. I mean, you know, I'm learning as much watching him as I do, you know, anybody else. So that's what we need to do. That's us getting better together. So is there anything you can identify about this area that makes it a high probability for multiple taps? Is it because we broke structure and then we didn't take, you know, we didn't retake, so we expect consolidation and it's just consolidating? Is that all we've got right here?
Yeah, you could call it that.
Okay.
For sure. We're consolidating in a zone. Yeah, I don't know. It's just when you break it down, 1 minute we're bearish, 12-minute we're bearish. You set your zones up on whatever time frame you're looking to take your trades based off of. Take your trades based on that zone, and do we take a? I guess you could consider this an important low because we ranged basically all of the things. So you'd expect consolidation now that we've broke out of it for a bit.
Right.
But
are you still interested in the 50% of that major zone there? If you
yes, as soon as we get a sweep above here or above here, and I'll be looking short.
Okay.
Off of any CSS.
All right. Do you drop down, or are you going to stay on the 1 minute looking for that CSS?
No, I'm going to stay on the one.
Okay, perfect. That'll be great. We can kind of get an idea of how to make the entries more precise. Because right now, you know, I'm using 50% on the ones that are high probability, but I need something that delivers, you know, also on just any zone, because any zone is liable to hit if it gives you that signature. It raises your probabilities for it, and I don't really have that right now. So that's why I'm just taking the ones that are, you know, kind of eating the low-hanging fruit is what I'm calling them. Accumulation range at the top looks interesting. Yep. Oh yeah, I love accumulation ranges. That's the box. This is being recorded, and I had him go through his settings at the beginning of the video, so that's why I wanted to get it, and I just let it run after that. But if you want to know what his settings are to get the screen kind of like it is, that'll be at the beginning of the video. Good morning, Arizona. So you're fibbing it, Pep? Got it. I just look for zones inside the 12-minute zone or some kind of area. A lot of times there is a good 1-minute zone inside it, nested in there. And if it's close to the 50%, then I consider that really good. In fact, if it drops enough, there's an area that I have identified that I just love. It's right here. So we got a 12-minute zone right here. And then towards the bottom of that 12-minute zone, there's a 1-minute zone of its own. And then there's an invisible zone from magma that lines up perfectly with the 50% of the 1-minute zone. All of it's at the 70% or so of the 12-minute zone. So to me, that's, makes it something I definitely want to consider. ProJ was showing me some of the invisible zone stuff the other day, and there's something to that,
Yeah, I'm sad that he left the space. He seemed like a pretty good dude, from what I saw on Twitter.
Yeah, well, he left a bad taste in my mouth, but
Who, Magma did?
yeah, he basically
Why?
threatened to sue me and everything else.
Oh, so he's not a very good guy then.
No, he's not. He's not. I mean, I don't know. When he said everybody got what they paid for, but I'm sorry, if you enter a mentorship and you start paying somebody 90 or $100 a month, the expectation is that you're going to have some time to absorb the material, learn it, and build a strategy. Nobody would have got in if you'd have said, yeah, I'm going to do this for a month or two, then I'm going to take all the money from all 400 people, I'm going to just bail, take my toys and go home, and nobody's going to have access to the material anymore.
Really? Is that what he did?
Yeah, he took everything down.
I didn't see it.
And
I didn't follow any of the
and
story or
threatened to
anything, so I just know that he left.
Threatened to sue me for putting a link up to some of the videos.
Jesus.
So yeah, and I told him from the beginning, I'm pro trader. I'm not pro magma. When you were a trader and you were, adding value to the community,
Finding your way.
I was supporting him. I was the first one to look his stuff over and promote his Discord and all that. And gave him a spot here and did all that. And so yeah, I was, he said, I thought you were my friend. I was like, well, I was your friend when you were a benefit to the people around us.
A decent,
yeah, and trying to help us. Now, there's no reason for taking all that shit away from the people who were invested in it, So had he just quit and whatever, that's fine. I get it. And the reason for him quitting was a lot of it had to do, and you could see this in Twitter. A lot of this had to do with PAC coming out and basically offering a free mentorship with all the sauce. And a lot of his people bailed, and he got really, really frustrated with it. And started bad-mouthing scalping on Twitter and talking about how we're degenerates and we're gambling and this is no way to make a living and yada, 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 And it wasn't long after that he came up with some other reasons why he wasn't going to do this anymore and he bailed. So that's the short of it. But I do have a link now to all of the all the videos that weren't copyrighted. They weren't put on YouTube. So when you load something up to YouTube, it gets an automatic copyright protection, and you got to respect that. But if you put something on your Google Drive and you give people the link to that Google Drive, that's not copyrighted. If you want to copyright it, you got to go through a process. So I told him I would follow the law, and when he requested that I take down the copyrighted material, I did, because I have that in my disclaimer that you can file a claim if you find something that you don't want posted here. But I got 29 videos that are hours and hours long each of his live streams, his backtesting sessions, and all of that. That is not copyrighted as of this time, and I will be putting it out there.
That's crazy, dude. I didn't know all that. Or sorry, Todd. I meant to say Todd there.
Yeah, so it's,
So he's not a good guy. I redact what I said about him being a good guy.
yeah, I don't know. I guess he's within his rights legally, but it's just not, to me, it's not an
No.
ethical
Yeah, it's
thing
not.
to
That's
do.
not ethical at all.
Right. So yeah, you're legally right, but you're not ethically right. I mean, there was a time when slavery was legally right, but it obviously wasn't ethical. It wasn't what good people would do, and that's kind of the way I feel about what he did. Yeah, you're legally can do whatever you want with your material, but you had built expectations and relationships with people, and you got them started on a path. And we all know how important this is and how much time we invest in it. And if we think we got something that we can work with, and then you take it away, that's a bit. That's a just a, you know, it's just terrible. All right, so here's your first stew signal right here for all you watching.
It's going to be a loser. Don't follow.
Oh no, yeah, I tell them that all the time. Everybody's responsible for their own shit, but and we all know that. I mean, I have people that'll take mine and they'll tell me when they win, but I don't hear a lot from them when they take them and they lost. And he's in. How many points is that?
So my stop is 1125 or 49 ticks right now. Should be right.
So you got your
Let me give it a
sweep.
little bit of a buffer.
So you got your sweep, you got your flip, or your
Hmm.
candlestick structure flip, and then you got the retest of that candle.
And right. So this is a nice Model 1 setup. And then in higher time frame perspective, if I pop out to my 12, this would be the best entry, right? Right here with the stop above there, targeting the low.
Got it.
But
You're on the 12-minute there, right?
yes, this is the 12.
Okay.
So
Waiting is the hard part.
I think we got a bit of news about the drop too, which would be nice. Might help me. Uh, oh yeah, that's right. It was yellow folder. So one thing I don't like about this trade right now is that we closed above my candidate candle to put in a valid low
Yeah.
without taking the previous valid low.
Right. Is that ever a time when you would just cut it, or if you're already pretty
Yes,
close to your
100%.
okay.
Yeah, 100%. I would cut it as soon as we got to close and we opened on this candle.
Okay.
But I got a higher time frame confluence here. I think the trade is right. It might not be the right time.
And if you get stopped out on this one and it keeps going up, do you try again on that um, higher time
Absolutely.
frame? Yeah, because that's
Absolutely. I
like you
just
said,
follow the same rules.
that's your best odds on that one. And that's something Pat used to talk about too. If you get stopped out on one, the next one, right behind it, uh, is just a higher probability because it was reaching up into that zone.
For all my ICT guys, got a nice imbalance here. There's a good chance we come up into that. Fair value gap. Also my 12-minute setup, right? Right here. There we go. Stopped out on that.
So if it hits again, then you go to the 1 minute and you look for the um, same criteria right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it wants now, like because we've already swept, we've taken the liquidity that I wanted. This is an even better sweep. Right here. Sweep. Right. Fair value gap.
All right.
12-minute, 1 minute setup, or 12-minute setup, model
There we go.
one.
Yeah.
Added confluence now would be if we had candlestick structure. So if we close below this green candle here,
And then come back and tap into it.
exactly. I'll take it again.
Yep. Oh, I'm going short on that one. And even better if it goes up and takes again, then it's just less likely that it's gonna. This is sort of the inducement or the little Judas before the actual move down. Go up there and grab liquidity one more time. Get up there. Bam. So this one checks off all the boxes, right? Swept up into a zone.
Yes.
There's nothing above it really, right, to mitigate, which is a good thing.
So for my trading, it's like step one, we have a zone. Step two, we've swept liquidity. Now step three, I'd be looking for a CSS or a model one, two, or three.
That's also in a 5 minute fair value gap too, which gives that a little bit more weight of a push down. So let's see. And the ones you're marking are just the location where it would validate the high, right? The little line you have at the bottom of the green candle. To the right.
This guy here?
No, right here where price is. Right there.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the candidate candle.
Okay.
As soon as this candle closes, because it's above this one,
Right.
this will be our new candidate candle.
New candidate, okay.
And you would consider the first move up that caused the leg of the structure break would be our S&DO.
Origin?
Yeah.
Same thing, okay. So does that, when you get up there, you're kind of looking for the same thing
as the S&DR.
As you were at the S&DR or the 50, or you're just looking for that same validated high to be created and then a tap back into that area, which is really what you were waiting for from the 50% even. It's just
Yes.
if it happens
if
here,
you're waiting for the 50%. Yes,
right.
Exactly.
You're just waiting for that.
And then when we look at price expectations, guys, like Pac went through, right?
Yep.
There's the 3 price expectation models, and one of them being
the wick through.
All right, and we get a nice wick through. We get a nice wick here.
So if you get a wick through and then it creates the valid high, are you assuming that's a failure and you look for an entry to then target that low?
Yes.
Okay.
If we make a valid high here without taking the structure, I'd probably be taking the short for sure. Right. But you also have to keep in mind that the model that presents 70% of the time, right, where we come up when it just before it's about to break structure, we come back and then we take structure.
Right. So it kind of depends on where the valid high is. If the valid high comes in short of wicking through, like if we made the valid high right here, that would be the entry model 1. If it or the price expectation 1. If it wicked through, that's price expectation 2, and then you get your valid high. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I would agree with that. Yeah.
The third one isn't it similar to the first one, or it just doesn't get up as close?
Yeah.
Before it pulls back a little bit.
Because.
Yeah.
The third one is when we just break it and then we pull back into the S&DR and keep going up.
Okay. So yeah, those are pretty clear as far as the way they form. It's just based on where you get your valid high. If you get your valid high and you're above the zone, and you've broke structure, then you're waiting for a pullback into the S&DR. If it wicks through and you get a valid high in this area right here, then it's possibly it's a failure, and you would expect some of the lows to be taken. But if it does this and creates a valid high, then that's just a pullback into what? I'm not sure, but so what's the expectation on a 2?
On price model 2?
Yes. It wicks through.
So 1 is
what kind of
the.
entry are you looking for? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
So are we calling the double top 2?
The one that wicks through.
The one that wicks through is we're going to call that 2.
I thought it was.
So exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'd call it. It's pretty much the exact same, right? Like if we wick through and we make a valid high, and you take a model, either
Okay.
model 1, 2, or 3.
All right. So either one is it's the same, just depending on you're still looking for it to come down and take the lows. It's a failure swing either way. You created a valid high before the actual high was closed above.
Yes.
Okay. So that was a nice tap on the middle of the S&DO.
Yep.
If you get this close right here, then you validated your high, and then you're waiting
So I'd be
for.
looking for. Technically, you're supposed to put above the zone, I think, but 22 points is a lot for me, so I'd just be putting above
Okay.
right there.
And what's you're just waiting for the candle to close, and you get in.
Yeah. So did this candle close below our candidate candle? So the close of this candle was 95.75, and the low of this candle was 95.75. So we did not get a close here.
Okay.
So this
So
trade is not valid yet.
so on this one, you're not waiting for a pullback into anything. You're just looking for the moment you validate the high, which is similar to what ProJ does on his 15-second model. And the entry is when you close below that point.
Yes.
Okay.
It has to close. It has to put in that valid high.
Okay. But no pullback.
No, didn't close.
And yeah, these are the worst when it closes. It takes its time and
Yeah.
it dumps 10 points to close. If you could have got that little another tick right there, you'd have had an entry that was more manageable as far as placing your stop loss.
This is interesting to watch though. Like this is the candle that it needs to close below in order to put in a valid high,
Right.
to put in a failed high, right? And look how like hard it's fighting to stay above that.
Right.
So the longer it does this, like this is going to be our fourth candle. I'm more so leaning that we're just going to, this is like the pullback before we take the high,
Right.
like this.
Yeah.
The model that happens 70% of the time.
Right.
But we'll see. Either way, I'm not going to take that long, even if it wants to do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in a spot where you can find a good reason to take either, then
Yeah.
that's a good reason to pause. Actually, it could go short here, but also it could go long. So, and like you said, it's not displaying any solid energy to just come down. And we also inverse that fair value gap now too, so we're kind of sitting on top of that as well. If you're a
This Sibi?
if you're a dodgy guy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
still messing with me why his indicator painted that as the 12-minute high when it.
Right here, this guy,
Yeah.
the valid high.
It looked like just a wick over the previous, high.
So this valid low was validated by this green candle here. And then we got a close here. So this would be the candidate candle to put in a valid high. And we got the close. Oh, but we gapped up. We gapped up here.
No, I was looking at the
Open was 102.
where your upside down triangle is, or your triangle is to the left.
Oh, this guy, that the protected high?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Because we wanted it, we thought it was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's putting it there.
I think it's because there's a gap down here.
If it,
So it looks at it like it's a continuation candle.
but
Even
as a
though we didn't get a
high,
close above. Yeah, we didn't get a close above that body, right?
right, as a high, it would need to be a gap up, wouldn't it? To mark it as to put the mark above that candle, the red candle, wouldn't it need to gap up from the green candle?
I'd have to rewatch the nuance
Okay.
video. I thought there was one where he uses the gap down as the valid high as long as it's a red candle.
Oh, okay. I'll ask ProJ about that one. Either way, structure was broke, so it doesn't really matter in
Yeah.
this instance. I mean, we know that either the previous one that we thought was the highest high, the low that brought it was still broken here.
Gap.
What's up, T guy? You're new. Welcome. Shubham G might be new. Welcome. G bad maybe new. Welcome.
So if this candle closes below this red line, then it's valid and the short is on. Super aggressive entry would be there, or you could wait for the top of the 50. Total risk on the trade would be 1150, 11 points. 11 and a half points. Let's see if it gives us our entry. Nope. She just gonna take off.
Okay, so you've got you closed below the candle that put in the high.
Uh-huh.
But you wait for it to come back up to the opening of that candle? I thought you were getting
Yep.
in. I thought you were getting in when it closed.
No.
Okay.
No. I want to see it touch, at least tap back into the zone.
Okay.
Or into that candle, into that green candle.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was confused on.
Considering the risk, I probably could have, but that would have been like,
No,
nah, it's 20 points
that's,
of risk.
the
That's a lot of risk.
scenario that I don't like is when it closes that far below the actual candle because you're already 10 points below, or whatever.
Low on the 12.
So at what point do you disqualify that? So I mean, it could go back up and tap it now. Is there a certain as long as it hasn't put in a new, well, it would almost have to put in a new valid low to go back up there and tap that now. Unless it was just a huge wick, and you wouldn't know that at the time. Yeah. So it would almost look like a new valid low has been put in by the time it got up there.
James, good question. That's a hard one. I still struggle with. So if we were to, you're saying if we were to come down here, make a valid low, and then come back up, and tap in, would I still be looking short? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was asking.
Yeah, that's right, Justin. We do have a valid low right here. This is a valid low. I think James is saying that if we come down, make a new valid low, right? Because this is a valid high, make a valid low without taking this low, and it comes back up to our entry. Do we still short it? I don't know. I'd have to look at the 1 minute and make a judgment call. But as of right now, like that's a short on the 12. And if we come back up here on the 1, I'll be shorting on the 1.
Even if you've put in a valid low on the 1, it won't
Yep,
matter.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Because it'd look like this. Because now we just put in that valid low, and would be my expectation.
Okay.
Because you gotta remember, structurally, we're still bearish, right? Show of hands in the chat. Put a 1 if you think we're going to take the high. Put a 2 if you think we're going to remain bearish and head down.
I'm going with the valid low on the 12, so I think it's going to keep going. It doesn't mean you couldn't get, a scalp in there on a pullback, but that's living more dangerously.
Come on.
So I guess the fact that it put a valid low in on the 12 doesn't negate the fact that we're still bearish overall.
No, because even if you're just looking at structure and you're looking at valid highs and lows, look at the
Right.
path. So this high made a new low. This high didn't take the previous high, made a new low.
Right.
So we're coming up, down,
Right.
up, down. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
I could be completely wrong though. So
No, I mean it makes sense. If you're really trying to be correct with overall direction, then on the 12 we're bearish, even if it puts in a short-term low as it's just making a move back up. But it could just easily turn around and then put a valid high in right there too, and that would be the continuation down.
yeah, if we put in a valid high right here, that would be a lot of confluence on the 12 that we're just going to make a new low. I'm very tempted to just press the button here and get in. But I'm going to hold off. And if it makes a new valid high here by closing on this candidate candle, I'm just going to size down because it's going to be substantially more risk. Yeah, but look at the candle. It rejected the low of the possible valid high. Are we talking about the 12-minute funky? Look at the candle. It rejected the low of the possible valid high. It rejected the low of the possible valid
To
high.
the right.
Right,
The
right.
candle
Yeah.
is printing right now. It rejected instead of making a new valid high, it pushed back up. But it's moving back down now, so
I missed that. I went back to the fucking shit. That's all right. Whatever. It's all good.
100 ticks. It's going strong here.
Yeah. This should have been my entry as soon as we closed. So I should have been risking 16.75 points. TP1 low hanging fruit would be this guy right here, right?
Yep.
So let's just go down and we'll take our low hanging fruit profit target right here. And then we'll just set the other one to break even, or better yet, we'll set it behind where it's supposed to be. If we take this low, right, the proper way that Pack taught us to trail our position
Staying above the
would
predicted
be,
high.
yeah, we take this low, our next zone, we would trail our stop here. And then every zone we make after that, we just keep trailing to the next zone.
Got it. Good job, Peter.
Pepe. It's 11.25 points on that. Nice. Good job, dude. Excellent trade. So we got our low hanging fruit trade. Very nice. Whatever that was. What was that? 17 points. So now if we close this candle, I could slide my stop to behind this high here.
Right.
If we don't close, I got to keep my stop where it is. Another indicator to get out would be if we put in a valid low here without taking this low. So there's our candidate candle, right?
Yep.
We take this high with the body closure. That puts this as a valid low. What did we do? We just made a double bottom.
Yep.
Equal lows, run the highs. Let's see how it plays out.
So when you say equal lows, you mean literally two equal valid lows, where the second one didn't take the first one, and they're both valid. That's a technical double bottom. Got it.
Double bottom, exactly. So boom, boom, boom. We'd be expecting it to run this guy and this guy.
Okay. Well,
Here,
we're gonna get it too.
and this high. I'm going to let this candle close. I want to see it close above to put in that valid low. Because if it just wants to wick it, then the trade's still valid. And that's a close, so this trade would be dead. This short is dead.
Yeah, good job. Got your partial. Um, followed the
Yeah, I think I gave it all back though
followed the logic.
on the
Yeah,
exiting.
that's part of it. Well, you still got the plus from the one contract, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let's see let's look at the executions here.
So you took one off. So yeah, you made the
So
profit from the one.
down here was where I actually entered, even though the entry was
Oh,
supposed to
gotcha.
be up
Oh,
here.
okay. Yep. All right.
So that's where my entry actually was.
Okay. So
So it took my low hanging fruit profit target right here. And then we put in the valid low, which ended my scalp here.
okay. So how do you get involved now? If you see the double bottom, do you wait for a pullback into the um, a pullback into something to try to go long, or do you just watch it? Watch it go. Or is that something that maybe
I would watch it go. I'd watch it go. 12 minutes bearish, 1 minute's bearish still.
okay?
Even though we're putting in these higher highs and higher lows, structurally we're still bearish. So
So the double bottom itself isn't strong enough to overcome bias.
no,
Okay.
not unless I was just looking for a quick scalp. Like you could have took that double bottom as soon as it validated and be looking for this high, but like that's the max I would be
Right.
scalping to because it's counter trend.
Right.
Unless I had a higher time frame perspective that lined up with that idea. Yeah, Todd, thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate you.
Take yours, Todd.
I gotta put that back up because that was a shitty trade. That was a poor entry.
All right, Peter.
Where did I get?
Have a good one. And what caused you to get in late? Were you just talking to us and kind of let it get beyond you?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah, I
What's
get that a
his
lot.
Funky? Funky asked the question about the 12 minute, so I popped out to the 12 minute when I was waiting for that this valid high to get put in. And
Right.
as soon as we got that valid high, I was going to enter short
Right.
on the close. So I should have got in at the open of this candle,
Right.
but
So
it's all good.
the idea was sound. You just kind of
Yep.
fumbled the entry because you were distracted.
Look how clean that entry would have been though if I just took the aggressive entry, right? And I took that one. Looking to take the low hanging fruit, that would have been 22 points.
What would
Nope.
you have been entering on at that point?
So that was the model one. That was what we were initially looking for, right? Well, as soon as we put in this valid high, we were waiting for this valid high to get put in
Oh, right.
by
Okay.
closing this
Yep.
green candle,
Right.
closing below this green candle. As soon as we came back up into it,
Right.
that was your short.
Okay. Yeah, that works. That would have worked perfect.
Bathroom break.
Alrighty.
Okay, so these trades weren't real. Get those off my chart. Took an L here for 11.25. Trade 1 minus 11.25 times 5 cons. Trade 2. I don't even know what I got on that one. The hell is that? Long position. Close long position. Oh, 8:30. It's backwards. Why isn't it in order of time? Hmm.
It sure looks like it's building building liquidity at the top to eventually run. So,
I like the short even more if we close below this candidate candle. So then we put in a valid high without taking the prior high. So we're just making
right.
lower highs, lower lows.
So if it closes beyond that candidate candle and then pulls back
Mm-hmm.
into it, that's your short.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
With stop above that previous high or above the high of the range there.
Yeah,
That's a tricky
that's a
one.
tough one. Ideally, like you would expect it not to go above this previous swing. Um, so that would be a very tight stop.
Yeah.
But
It's also
ideally,
not
your stop should be above the zone.
okay. Yeah, that's a good fair distance there. Excuse me. And again.
So that 12-minute model worked out pretty decent. So you would have got tagged in here on this 10/24 12-minute candle at 50%. Stop above the highest valid high there. So there. And I guess you'd be looking 1-to-1 would be
Yeah.
nice. So 23 points, 23.75 points. You would have got tagged out there for a 1-to-1. and technically your trade would still be valid because we haven't made a valid low yet. Tough day. Needed to be really patient. Besides those multiple setups here in the SNDR, you had to be really patient for this Model 1 with all this chop comes back.
Yeah, it's pre-NFP day too, so sometimes that's
Yeah, the
not
day before
always.
NFP is always chop.
Yeah, but
Always,
sometimes
always.
it'll
Yeah.
just, yeah, it'll be just a range all the way through Asia and London, and just really, not very exciting. And there's times it'll move a little bit, but as a rule, I think we shouldn't get our expectations up too high. Especially after yesterday. Yesterday was huge push. You know, I hate hindsight. If I would have just held that trade and went and did something else, got to break even, and walked away.
Which one was that, Mark?
When I took the 50% of this zone right here, down at
Let me pull up your stream.
1936.25. Even if I would have just took the one. What I'm trying to do now is mess with my ATM orders so I can take a partial and then leave a runner. So I'm sized way down to allow that because I want to capture, stuff like this on occasion. And it's just better for my mindset to be sized down a little bit. My best trades, I think, are the ones I don't watch.
Oh yeah,
I'm at
for
work,
sure. The ones that you just, yeah,
put my
you
orders
walk
in,
away.
and I got to go do something, and I'll
Yeah.
be sitting there on the computer doing something else, and I'll hear it go ding, and I look, and I'm like, well, that was awful quick. That can't be a win. And sure enough, it just on a dime turned around and shot straight to my TP. I'm like, good thing I wasn't watching because that move might have caused me to just exit and take my money, and I got to quit doing that. It's terrible. That's one of the things I've identified through journaling and just kind of tracking what I feel like my mistakes were. Is I'm getting out way too soon. I see $100 and I'm like, well, it's $100 when it could have been three or
$100
four.
is $100. Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you.
but like they say, you don't do that with your losers. You let the
No,
losers
that's right.
run. You
You
cut the
you hold on to
winners,
those losers
right?
like a motherfucker.
So
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that, you got to hold the winners to at least have a chance to equalize.
unfortunately, not a very exciting day, but
No, I was glad to get mine and be done.
yeah.
Yesterday I battled all day. I came out good, but I mean it was, in the last hour of trading I was still in it trying to get my money back and catch the end of
Oh,
the
I
session
hate that.
move. Yeah,
You battle all day just to make a couple dollars or break even. That takes a lot of mental capital away from you.
yeah. Well, and I was
Been
talking
there,
about
done
it
that.
in the stream yesterday where there's a lot of days where I'm down, at lunch or something, and then I come back for the last 15, 20 minutes of the day and I catch that, move on close. And it, saves my ass so many times.
Yeah,
It pulled me
yeah.
out yesterday, it put me way green on that last trade. So it's kind of a,
It's definitely something to be said that your time frames. You know
yeah,
that, okay, I do
exactly.
very well in New York AM, and then I don't like PM, and I definitely don't like lunch or whatever, whatever your combination may be.
I think it's setting up for a shot at the top.
I was just about to say I'm looking for a possible long here. I'm interested to see how we react off of here. If we could do a double, like a double tap, triple tap, I guess it would be in this case. Or do we just blow right through here because it's bearish structure and we head for the low?
Yeah, and it has dumped a couple times, which it has come down substantially a couple times. So all that really isn't the liquidity that looks like. A lot of people that had went short got stopped back out when it went back up on them. But if
I
it dumps
might
from here,
entertain.
all these people
Yeah,
win.
yeah.
And that's one of the filters I kind of use when I'm just watching the market is how many people win if it makes a big distribution move right here. If it looks like there's a whole lot of people that are short and they're just going to win and take profit, I usually think that's probably not going to happen. All these people that are short up here, up here, up here. If it dumps from here, they all
Yeah.
huge winners, right? Uh, and it's just not designed to give everybody that easy of a day. I think it has to challenge them before it can make a substantial dump, but we'll see. Kind of like here, right, when it dumped from here, all these people, if they had their stop right above it, or just it did come back up and challenge that one more time before it finally made the big move down. So do you notice a lot of like fake valid highs? Say you get a valid low right here.
Hmm.
Do you, if you wanted to go long, can you not trust the bottom of that candle? Do you have to cover the whole zone? Is it possible that that valid low is, gets broke again to make another valid low? Do you see that very often?
Mm, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it happens all the time, but I just more context. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if
If it
I
validates
would
right
be
here,
interested. Yeah, we validate.
you would still
Would you
cover
take
you
that
would still
long
cover the
higher?
zone. You would still cover the zone
Uh,
instead of just the candle.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
If you wanted to play it tight, then yes, you that's exactly what you would do. But really, like it could come all the way back, all the way down here, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. For me personally, I would just be taking the candle. I'd take the quick L
Right.
and cut my loss.
Yeah. Because you can lose four or five of those, and one winner pays for all of them. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. So like this would be our sweep. Then if we validate,
hmm
it would look like this. It would be your bullish move.
so you're waiting for it to
You're in a
close. You're
zone.
waiting for it to close
Yeah.
above, and then tap back into the candle. Yeah.
I personally, I wouldn't be interested in this long. It just, I would like to see it play out simply because we're in the middle of this range right now.
Right.
All right. We're in the middle of this guy right here. Get rid of this zone.
Glad to hear it, Cat.
Yeah, wow, Cat. That's a huge compliment. I'm not here to teach guys. I'm more so in here just to kind of air out my thought process. And I was looking for feedback from you guys saying, you know what, Stu, no, that's completely wrong. Or just
Yeah.
like you guys, I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to develop. I'm trying to hone my edge, increase my strike rate.
Yep. That's been my approach too, and I usually get some people in here who know what they're doing, and I'm the same way. Let me know. Uh, keep me on my toes. Keep me on point. And we can definitely have more if Stu's willing to hang out with us. I told him there's a lot of
Yeah,
days
for sure.
there's a lot of days I can't make it because of my work schedule um, during the day. So let me know. If there's times you're wanting to do that, and I'll put an announcement out and let people know there's going to be somebody in here.
Appreciate that, Mark. Will do.
I want to get Nathan in here too. I think he's done one or two maybe.
Did that candle close? I don't think it did. Close of that candle was 74. High of the candidate candle was 74. So no. And then this guy gapped up. Open was 74.25. Close of this candle was 74. And look at that. The trade was invalidated anyway. Perfect. So now hopefully this candle closes and then we have a new candidate candle. And because this would be a sweep. And it swept the zone. I think that's a Dio um, concept, the double sweep. So you get your first sweep, you wait for the second sweep, and then you get your valid low. I could be mistaken on that. Somebody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. $11:30, guys. I'm gonna shut her down here in about 4 minutes. Really appreciate everyone popping in, everyone's feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
Mark, thanks for allowing me to do this, man. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah, glad to have you. Learned a lot. Yeah, I'm probably not far behind him with what we're looking at right here. I got my bag, so I'll probably come back on this afternoon sometime. We'll see. What's that bet
Yeah, it looks
saying?
like it's gonna rain here, so I might pop back in for the afternoon session. We'll see.
So he said some rules I'm trying to set up. When in a zone for a reversal, it must first take something. Yes, taking something. In a zone without structure on the way. Take something in the zone. Sounds sound. Yeah, if you're looking for sweeps, is good. Just be mindful of managing your risk. That's the key. He had a good point about negating a trade once a new valid high or low is put in if the previous lower high hadn't been swept. So good info there. Yeah, if it comes back down into this 50% of this zone that I took earlier, because I'm so expecting it to go back up, I might take a low risk. I kind of want to test out this new bracket order I've got, where I've got a small position for 5 points and then an equal position holding for 10. So we'll see.
I don't know, man. I think it's a pretty solid concept. We're still in an overall pretty big range. So you're just longing from the bottom of the range, which is exactly what you're supposed to do.
Oh yeah, I was talking. It needed to come all the way back down to the 12-minute low, or around that 50% of that zone that I had taken earlier. Because these zones often get they deliver regularly more than once, and this is a virgin zone that only
Right.
got tapped once. So I will look at it. I'm really expecting this to go back up. You don't see this slow grind down that's constantly up and down, up and down. Very rarely do you see it just tank from there. I mean, that's too much, too many people, too much liquidity there. There's so many people that are sitting short above every one of those candles. Um, you know, that's like I said, it's kind of how I measure my expectations is how many people are going to win if it just dumps from here, and starts heading the other way. That's a lot of folks up there.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it dumps,
And I'm only looking
but
for just a little piece of a move. So how big is that? That's a 32 point zone. At 4 micros makes it like an 8. No, almost half. 32, 16. I'd be covering about 8 points. Doesn't sound right. It's too early to try to math. Okay, 32 points. Would have to cover 16. I'm less than half size, so we'd be covering less than 8. $20 a point. That's still $160. Well, even if I lost, I'd still be green for the day. That's my mentality a lot. If the final
there you go.
decision is if I lose this trade, am I still green for the
Will
day?
I still be green? Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Well, then there was no damage done. You take a shot. You got to put chips in the table sometimes if you want to play. So I try to balance. What is if I have a daily goal and I reach it, but there's this A plus setup. I hate passing on the A plus setups because those are the ones that I spend all day marking stuff up for. It's my highest confidence. Just because I'm up isn't really a reason to me to pass on an A plus setup because all the probabilities are in my favor for that trade. I'm going to take lesser probability trades tomorrow probably and pass on this A plus trade today just because I'm already in a good spot.
Yeah, just because you're green. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been there.
it's hard for me
Don't want to give
to.
anything back, right? But
Right. But this could be the one that makes up for
exactly,
2 or 3 days of losses also. And
a hundred percent,
this is the
a
trade that
hundred
I'm
percent.
programmed to take. All my back testing, all my confidence says you always take that trade. You always take that trade. See trade, take trade, no matter what. This is the one that wins. 70%, whatever your ratio is. And if I pass on that and then I watch it run away and win, I feel worse than if I would have lost. Because at least I took the trade I'm supposed to trade. With no fear, no emotional baggage keeping me down. But if I let myself be intimidated or scared out of it for no real good reason, to me that's something I need to work through.
Okay, so there's a close above our candidate candle, validating our valid low. Any tap back in here could potentially be a long. It's counter trend,
Right.
um,
It's going in the right direction though.
but yeah, I think it's in the right direction. So if I want to do the whole thing, that would be 16 points. Let's take it at the 50%. It's only 11.25.
50% of which candle? Or
The red one. What time is that? 11:30.
okay.
Because I believe we closed it on the 11:37 candle. Close is 69.25. The high of this candle was 69. Yep. So we closed it by a tick. Stat bet, sweep something. Like right now, if we get a valid low on the chart, we swept the low of the zone and went straight back. No structure on the way down until equal highs. I think he's talking about exactly what we're looking at right here. Until equal highs. Probably looking at these as equal highs, maybe.
Order submitted.
So there's the tag in. Hmm. Run in 15-minute time frame, we were bullish and had liquidity sweep of sell side liquidity, but it didn't take out buy side liquidity. Let's take a look, Ron. All right, so this low's job was to make a new high, which it did. Came down, didn't take the low, took the low but didn't close. So this is a weak high now. Come up. So this low's job was to make a new high. It didn't. We ran the low breaking structure. So, sorry, Ron, I don't follow you, bud. It looks to me like this is, oh, unless you're looking at this. This is a weak high you're talking about? We were bullish and had liquidity sweep of sell side liquidity, but it didn't take out buy side liquidity. Right. So you'd be looking at this as the buy side liquidity? Or no, the swing before the buy side liquidity. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, this one, right. 815. I'm just looking at it like this. So we came up bullish, came down, didn't close below that low. So the job of this low should have been to put in a new high. It didn't. Came down, takes that low. We come up. We don't take this high here. So now this high's job is to take this low. I was up good like 1K and end up in SL stop loss. Was so confused. Oh, you were up. I see. You took the long and you're up 1K, but then you stopped out. Ah, shit, dude. Sorry to hear that.
It'd be that way sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
100%. Oh, agreed, Ron. 100%. We're in consolidation. And the day before NFP, I expect it to be like this until end of session. Just so I can follow. Hey, Mula. Yeah. Yep. I am. Appreciate any input you got. I see you posting all the time in the channel. My pleasure, Ron. Like if you guys like this, I'm more than willing to do this pretty much every day. Like I'm
Bring it.
not quite a full-time trader, but I'm damn close to one
Bring it. Yep.
with the amount of hours I put in. Not saying that I'm profitable. Don't take that as I'm a profitable trader, because I'll tell you straight up, total transparency, I am not. I've never had a payout yet, so don't be taking signals from me. If anything, you should probably be fading my calls.
I finally took a payout, but I'm still behind, overall by a good little bit. All I did was pay for my evals and stuff, probably.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, that felt good for sure. Head in the right direction, I guess.
I think that's the goal right now for a lot of us is
Mm-hmm.
all we got to do is just get that first payout, right? If we get that first payout, it makes all the evals worth it,
Yep.
and it's kind of like a proof of concept. Okay, I'm on the right track.
Right. Yep. I've done it to some degree. I just have to rinse and repeat. All right, I got my partial. I did take that little
Order
long.
cancelled.
Excellent.
Took my
Nice long.
partial, got to break even. And let's see if we can just take that right there, maybe. No, okay.
Order cancelled.
That works. So that was the other bracket, or the little bracket order that I'm trying to do. And that's my day. So, kind of splitting it up and trying to get to five, the easy five, and then if it wants to run, have something out there that can take advantage of that.
What's the bracket you're looking at or implementing?
This one right here. So 5 point, 10 point, break even at 5 plus 2. So as soon as my first take profit is hit at 5, I go to break even plus 2 and just take a chance on getting a good push.
Okay, nice.
Because so many times I'm missing the bigger move, and if I just followed candle by candle, there's a lot of times I could have picked up another 15, 30 points, and I'm seeing it too much not to do something about it, at least in certain circumstances. here I had an expectation that it might, try to go up there a little bit, but my break even was too tight.
I really like this long position if we put in a valid low. Well, yeah, like right here. If this candle closes above the, I guess that would be the 1143 candle, that would validate that long concept that we were talking about, because you'd be valid high. That valid high's job was to take that low. It didn't. So your expectation would be to run that weak high. But at the same time, you also got to remember we're in a range right now.
It's given itself plenty of reason to go up, for sure.
It does it. You're 100%, 100%.
There's a lot of value there.
There was your low-hanging fruit objective. Hopefully it closes now to continue with upside. If not, it's just going to bounce back into the range.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Mula. I pointed out that was such a huge expansion yesterday, and prior to NFP as well. There's two good reasons for it to just not do a lot today. But that's also the beauty of this strategy, is you can come in here and you can grab, grab some trades. There's still stuff in here that's happening, working, and high probability, even in this environment.
Nice. We closed that valid high, so I'd be expecting it to push and take this high now before we get some sort of a pullback and then continue up. Kind of like right here and then up. Otherwise, if it doesn't take this high before pulling back, then you just have a double top. It'd be like, how would I draw this out? It'd be like this, and then you could just look at it like this.
Now, since it closed that short-term high right there, it made a new valid high.
Yep.
The long idea is pretty much dead right there.
Yeah, I don't know, because we did take this valid high, so technically this low did its job of taking this high.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't want to see a pullback before we took this intermediate high.
Yeah.
Like a pullback would have been okay, but not putting in a valid high.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, though, guys, that's it for me. I'm starving. I'm gonna go eat.
Okay.
Appreciate everyone coming in here today.
Yep. Thank you very much.
No worries.
I'm
Thanks,
kill the
Mark.
recording right here then. And I'll get this up